Welcome back to my channel. What is up, gamers? It is your boy, Church of Caboose. In this video, we're going to talk about the exhibition encounter. It is the third encounter of the Vow of the Disciple raid, as well as the challenge that goes along with this encounter, so that way you get an extra piece of loot called Defenses Down. If you already know how to beat the encounter, go ahead and skip to the timestamp on screen. This timestamp will be for where we talk about the challenge. As we did with the last video, we're going to start by talking about how to actually do the encounter and end the video with talking about the challenge. So if you know how to do the encounter and just want information on the challenge, go ahead and skip to this timestamp. For everybody else, let's talk about this encounter. This encounter is fairly challenging. It is one that can create a lot of havoc, and it's where a lot of teams seem to get stuck, especially when someone is learning. So hopefully this video will help it make it a little bit easier. My goal when I make these videos is so that someone can watch it and have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and when they hop into the raid, they more or less like, yes, I know what to do, now let's do it. Like, that's pretty much the goal I have with these videos. So weapons I include, or really think you guys should use, are going to be Wither Horde, Funnel Web with Void 3.0, and then a sword, maybe Falling Guillotine because it would tie with Void 3.0, otherwise a sword. A lot of people like using Gallahorn. Personally, I think that is a bad idea. Why? There's going to be lots of ads that are in your face. There's going to be a relic that we're going to talk about where people blow themselves up with it all the time when they use with rocket launchers. And swords, you can't blow yourself up with a sword. Like, you literally can't. So you have no issues in using a sword. Also, swords tend to work really well for ad clear. So does Gallahorn, but then you can use the Wither Horde and you can do things like spawn trap a door by putting a Wither Horde thing on it. Like, it just works really well. Funnel Web, of course, because of Void 3.0, so you might want to run a Void subclass. So Warlock, anything will really work. Hunter, I like Mobius Tether the most. And then Titan, you could do Banner, Shield, Bubble, doesn't really matter. Just the main thing is the Void, and I also really like Suppression Grenades. Other common loadouts include stuff with like Blinding Grenade Launchers and things of that nature, but really you don't necessarily need to get that sweaty. It's just, you don't want to blow yourself up, and Wither Horde and the sword with Funnel Web works really well. Otherwise, just whatever you need for ad clear, because the name of this game for this encounter is going to be speed. The faster you can kill all the ads and move through these rooms, the easier it's going to be. So that's why these loadouts are geared around ad clear, because with the Titan, Bubble is not going to do a whole lot really for ad clear, but the Void 3.0 will help a lot. See how we're all trying to do all the ad clear stuff. Now, what does this encounter actually need you to do? Essentially, each room is going to have at least one set, most of them will have two sets, of callouts that have to be given. Just like the acquisition encounter and the caretaker encounter where you had to have symbols called out and then people shout out symbols, we have the same thing. Only now you need to call out symbols that match up, and only people that have or don't have a relic will be able to read a corresponding set. So let me explain. The very first room where this starts off, when someone picks up the resonant, which we'll talk about before too long, you're going to have a set of glyphs on the left side and a set of glyphs on the right side. The left side glyphs are with a Scorn Chieftain dude. The right side glyphs are with a Taken Shielded guy. The Scorn dude, when you kill the Scorn, anyone not holding that relic can see the symbols. When you kill the Taken Captain Shieldy Boy dude, the person with a relic can see those symbols. So you want to have both symbols get called out, and then you shoot the one that lines up. So for example, say on the left side, it happens to be Kill, Stop, Guardian. Right? So someone that's not holding the resonant would say, hey, Kill, Stop, Guardian. Then the one that's holding the resonant doesn't necessarily have to call theirs out, but they'll look through. Maybe they've got Praise, Witness, Guardian. And like, okay, cool, Guardian. So then everyone will shoot Guardian on the set of glyphs by the door that is shut. So you can kind of see those pretty easily on screen. So you shoot that one and then move on into the next room. Every room after that first room will have two sets of symbols that have to be shot. You have two symbols total that you need to shoot, not just one. So what will happen is you go into the second room, you're going to have sets where you got one on the left, one on the right pretty early. Like that's why I'm letting this whole thing play out so you can maybe kind of see a little bit better. And I want to put up a screen, like a little map thing here before too long once I'm done kind of explaining this. So people are going to split. You're going to have like 3 go left, 3 go right. Probably want to have 1 relic go to each side because now you have a Aegeus relic, which does cleansing like from Vault of Glass, and the resonance stem, which is what you need to kill the knights. We're going to talk more about the relics at the end. Don't worry. Okay, so you're going to have a relic go 1 to each side because you don't know which side the Cabal Taken dude's going to spawn on. And so you go to your sides, kill some ads, make sure you kill the hobgoblins because those what triggers the knights that you need to extend times. Again, we'll talk about that because it's tied to the relic, the resonance stem. And then you'll kill like your Scorn Chieftain dude or the Taken guy on the left, whichever one it is, and then the other one will be on the right. And then if the Scorn guy is on the left, well then people not holding relics can read that. And if the Taken guy is on the right, well then the people holding relics can read that. And it can be anyone holding a relic and anyone not holding a relic can read these different symbols. So it's really important to know the symbols and to learn them because everyone kind of really has to participate in this one. There's not really an option to sit out, which is why I think this encounter is a little bit challenging. Then you go farther forward in the room, then you'll have the same deal. You're going to have the chieftain guy will be on the same side as the first time. The Taken guy will be on the same side as the second time. You call out your symbols. You're like, all right, cool, this is the one. And then you get to the end of the room, you shoot it, and you just repeat that a couple of times. So that's pretty much the encounter. Some big tricks with this is just forgetting what the callouts were. It is not uncommon for someone to give their callouts. You're like, okay, cool, it's Witch Queen. Then you do your second ones, and someone's like, all right, it's Black Garden, and then go fudge. What was the first one? So a big advantage that PC people have, and I think it's really nice, is they can put those symbols into chat. I believe Xbox might have a way to do this, but I'm not sure how. So don't quote me on it. Let me know down below. I could be wrong, or just let me know like how do you actually do it. But anyways, so people can put into chat on Steam like, hey, Witch Queen, cool. Second one, stop. All right. And then they'll usually do like dots underneath it to separate it out. So when you do the next set, you kind of know where the new ones are. All right, and that is pretty much the encounter, okay? After the second room, there's going to be a third relic added in, so now we're going to go ahead and just talk about the relics and what they do. So the first relic that is prevalent throughout the whole entire raid, or raid encounter rather, is the resonant stem. This is what is needed to kill the knights. There's only, like you might notice in that very first room, there's a shielded knight that spawns. The only one that can kill that knight is the one that has the resonant stem. They just shoot it and it destroys really quickly, and it will give you more time, which is important for the rest of the room. So when we get to the second room, we've got the resonant stem and now the Aegeus relic, which is the shieldy cleanse thing from Vault of Glass. All right, so now you have one guy that can extend time and one dude that needs to run around cleansing everyone, because now starting in that second room, everyone gets pervading darkness and the relic person runs around and will cleanse. So the relic guy needs to go back and forth to people. Now sometimes you can be like, hey, come to me if you need a cleanse, but realistically you want to have the relic guy running throughout the entire thing, back and forth, switching places. Okay, so when you get done with a room, you have to put those relics into like a placeholder so then the next person could pick it up. Because once you have a relic and you drop it, you will have a debuff that makes it where you cannot pick up a relic, any of them, for so many seconds. Usually it's about a room's worth. And so even if you drop it by accident, like switching to a weapon by hitting Y or whatever, then you can't pick it up again and someone else has to pick it up. All right, so we got the 2 relics so far. Resonant Stem, that's what kills the knights. And we've got the Cleanse relic, Aegeus's thing or whatever. And that's what cleanses and keeps everyone alive from wiping from pervading darkness. All right, now the Resonant Stem, you'll notice on the left side of your screen, because remember we talked about how everything is about time. All right, there's a timer on the left side of your screen. It usually is around a minute or so when you start. The Resonant Stem, when you kill a knight with it, will add on time. It seems like it's about 30 seconds or so. I'm not exactly sure, but the amount of time it adds on is fairly significant. So that first room, you have a knight at the very end by the door. So you run in after you kill and get the first set of those glyph keepers, where you have your callouts. Then the knight guy with the resonant stem goes to the end, kills the knight, goes on back and continues clearing ads as normal. And the same thing kind of happens for the rest of the rooms. Now on this map here, I'm going to try to leave this up for a little bit. I highly suggest you screenshot it or just Google Exhibition Destiny 2 map. Like, it'll pop up and then you can save it to your computer. We'll show you where all the different layouts are at. For me, it wasn't super helpful. What just made the most sense for me was, in general, where most of the ads are at, that's where the Glyph Keeper is going to be. That's just kind of how it worked out. After a couple of runs, I kind of was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I never really had much of an issue after that with knowing where Glyph Keepers spawn. All right, so now there is a third symbol, because you got through the first room, you got through the second room, you're doing great. Now we're on to the third room, and a third relic is added into the mix. It is the Taken Blast thing from the Last Wish raid. Hopefully you guys remember that. What you want to do with this one is there's going to be little Taken orbs around the rooms now, the last two rooms, that can only be destroyed by using the grenade button when you have the Taken relic. So you're going to go to the little Taken orb thing, blow it up. It is worth knowing they go back and forth opposite sides. So what I mean is, if you first spawn in, or you're not spawn in, you run into that third room, and then you see the Taken thing orb deal on the left. Well, you go to left, and then you know next you bounce over to right, then you bounce to left, and then you bounce to right. You just go back and forth like that. You want to make sure you are the one finding the person with the relic that's cleansing everyone, because you can, in theory, run all the way to the end, blowing stuff up, and then get back and get cleansed. So you just want to make sure you're paying attention. I usually turn around myself when I'm getting around 6 or 7 because I don't like pushing it. I mean, you usually have enough time anyways to go get cleansed and then go back and finish what you have. This relic is also pretty nice for stunning ads. If you do the grenade button, you kind of like force push them all away. It's kind of a fun thing that works pretty well for helping with ad clear. Because relics, you can and should be shield bashing, resonance stemming, lasering, and then Taken blasting these ads to help out with the remaining teammates that are all trying to kill ads as fast as possible, killing the Glyph Keepers and giving callouts. In the last room, the very last room, it is more open. I always suggest the person with the cleanse relic stays in the middle along with the resonance stem, because the knight spawns in the middle, just like you can see on the map. And like there's like you got like a left side, and like a gap where you can fall through into space. Then you got like a middle series of platforms. Then you got a right side with a gap you can fall into space, and the actual right side. In the middle is where the knights that the resonance stem needs to destroy tend to be. And it's not too hard for the other players to just jump to the middle, get the cleanse buff, and go around, because they can't necessarily move room to room anyways on their sides. They kind of have to jump out and around. So this works pretty well, like you guys were probably hopefully able to see here on screen. And that is the encounter as normal. When you bank these relics and put them into their placeholders between each room, whenever the resonance stem is put into its placeholder, that refreshes the time. So say you get to the end, you got like 30 seconds, you could be like, hey people, go stand by where you're going to grab a relic. Cool, I'm putting it in, and then you can go and kind of take advantage of a few seconds. Personally, I like chaos mode. I think it's way more fun. Just like Deepstone Crypt, I think that the relic rolls aren't necessarily that hard to know, and I just grab it. If everyone just knows, like, hey, like if you are able to, just grab it, and that reduces any need to lay out, hey, you do this, then you do this, because then people think about it and they're like, oh, is it my turn? And I just think that works way easier. Let me know down below. Do you guys like laying it out exactly who's grabbing what and when? Or do you prefer the chaos mode? So I'm going to, again, put up the screenshot right here so that way you guys can see it. Screenshot, save it to your phones, email it to your friends, put it in your Discords, whatever. Someone on Reddit came up with this. I'm not sure who. The credit's not mine, but they did a really good job. And if they end up seeing this, I appreciate it. And if you let me know, like, stuff to put in the description or whatever, I will happily add it. I'm not taking credit for this. This is somebody else's work. All right, they've just been putting it on Twitter for people to use, and so I'm like, all right, they're not worried about copyright, so I can share this. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and talk about the challenge mode. What do you have to do to get the challenge done? The challenge for this Defense is Down is really simple. You only are allowed to kill 6 knights. There's a total of 7, and every guardian has to kill 1. You cannot have 1 guardian that kills 2. And again, you can only kill 6 out of the 7 possible knights. So you will have to skip 1 knight. Here's what my team found to be the easiest thing. In the second room, kill only one of the knights. The ads aren't too bad. You can usually go through it really quick. It's easy to practice where the spawns are at. It's not that hard to just breeze through that one and only leave up, you only kill one knight. My team, we only really killed one knight for every room. I think the last room we might have killed 2 of them just to be safe, but we only killed one knight per room. Because to do the challenge, once you kill a knight, you cannot kill another knight. So your options are then, once you kill a knight, is to drop it, someone else picks it up, and they kill the second knight, or just be able to hang on to it, put into the placeholder, and then the teams just switch around. That's going to be up to you guys. I would love to know down below what you guys think to be easiest. My team and I thought the easiest thing was just to kill one knight in each of the rooms. That was it. And then when we got to the very last room, there was like 3 people that could grab it, and so it wasn't going to really matter too much if we needed to kill the last knight for like, oh crap, we're running out of time. Not a big deal. There wasn't just one person that could pick it up. There was like 3 that had the option to pick it up and kill a knight. So that is the challenge. You can only kill 6 knights total, and you cannot kill more than 1 knight yourself. So if I grab the first one and killed the first knight, I cannot kill the last knight. That is it. I cannot kill any more knights. And so we found killing 1 knight in each room was what worked best for us. But you could do teams of 2. This is the other strat people seem to do that I guess works pretty well. Is you could assign, hey, second room, you and you are resonant stems. So when you're going to pick it up first, and the second guy will grab it once you kill your knight, you just got to drop on the ground, they will grab it. Then this third room, hey, you and you're going to be the resonant stem people, and so on and so forth throughout the thing. That works pretty well for people too. However, that's a little bit more coordination because you got to make sure you're not dropping the resonant stem off the map. You got to make sure that the right person's picking it up, that you're giving it, and that their people are following each other relatively closely so they can actually pick it up. And I think it's just way easier to only kill 1 knight per room. It could take more practicing though, because you gotta get kind of fast. You gotta be able to know where most things are at for the most part and breeze on through. But that is the challenge mode. Kill 6 knights, leave 1 alive, like you left 1 alone, and you can only kill 1 knight each. That's the challenge. Do that, boom, challenge over, encounter is done, moving on to Rolk. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate it. Make sure you like the video down below, as well as comment if this was useful, if this was not. I would love to know your thoughts on the thumbnail. I've been experimenting around with some things. My good friend Plur Plays made this one for me for this encounter. So if you're like, hey, like this thumbnail is a large reason why I clicked on this video, let me know. Also, I will have his business email in the description down below. So if you're like, hey, I want digital art, he does way more than thumbnails, you can hit him up and just talk with him about it. So hopefully this was a good video. Hope you guys liked it. Subscribe, like the video, comment down below, especially if this was helpful, different strategies, weapons, anything else, as well as the thumbnail art, with what you thought about it. That'd be great. All right, guys, have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.